I try not to talk about it because if you talk about it with like family, they're not gonna understand. It's like, they're like, why are you doing this to yourself? That doesn't make sense. How could you do that? What kind of person are you? Are you crazy? I've literally had that been told to me. Are you crazy? And it's, you don't know how to answer back. So you kind of just stay quiet.
What is a time where you have felt like so angry at your parents for not understanding?
So I think somewhere back in the summer freshman year, I had this terrible breakdown. It was one of those breakdowns where it's just like me going ballistic and things like that, and he called the police. I got arrested and I was in the hospital. I was just by myself. I was thinking like, I wonder what my dad thinks. I wonder if my mom knows, you know? And so fast forward a few days, my mom, she picks me up and she hugged me, you know, and she embraced me for a second, but after that, nothing else was said. She didn't like really talk about it, and it really hurt me a lot. I get maybe it's just like she wanted me to move on and be happy, but it's kind of difficult when you know there's that barrier there, and it's like awkward silence, and you know you want to talk about something, but you can't because your other parent doesn't want to talk about it, and it sucks.
Yeah, it is. It is a weird subject. Like, you don't want to put yourself out there. Like I said, in Mexican culture, you don't question too many things. You don't ask because you don't want to expose your family to whatever you're going through. It's kind of what we view as a little bit shameful, I guess, that you don't have the perfect family or that you're not raising your family properly.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a pride thing, especially like between my parents. I feel like it's just because they don't want to feel like they have failed me in a sense, but it would also be like failing as a parent as you don't let me get help.
For whatever reason, I think they think that's the best for you because they don't want you to suffer. But at the end, they just prolong it.
Even when you lost your grandmother, right? Like no one
No.
anything.
We never knew she passed away because they never told us. I mean, we had the ceremony at my aunt's house. We thought it was a family gathering. Everybody was there. But we never knew until like, many months after that, I think. It is hard not to know that the person you care for the most was never going to come back.
Mental health, I mean, not only am I a Latino, but I'm also a first responder. I've seen a husband kill his wife, murder himself. Saw a teenager shoot himself in the heart with a little .22 caliber. Run around the house screaming, me duele, me duele, and then bled out in front of his family. None of that ever really bothered me. We got one call. It was for a missing child, and he had been in the water. So I saw this little kid, and it looked like he had just been sleeping, similar to like watching one of my children sleep. And that just really screwed me up. My FTO told me, look, if that really bothers you, because you've seen so much death and so much ugliness in the world, that maybe you should ask to talk to a counselor. Well, being not only a law enforcement agency, but again, a Mexican American, you don't want to look weak, so you don't ask for that. But every once in a while, you being my daughter, you see me that I'll go quiet sometimes, or that something will bother me, and it still pops in my head every once in a while. And it's just like you're doing dishes or you're cutting the grass, and all of a sudden it feels like someone just stabs you in the ribs or whatever, and it pops up in your head. Looking back, I kind of wish I had maybe spoken to someone about that and not try to be so tough and macho.
It's actually kind of embarrassing. I even have like family, like especially Chaldean family, that'll be like, yo, what's that? And I'll be like, oh, it's like, the usual like, haha, it's just cat scratches, or, I had an illness or whatever. And like, I try not to talk about it because if you talk about it with family, they're not gonna understand.
Reaching out for help and someone finding out, especially in Mexico, starts a gossip. Someone goes out and asks for help. Right off the bat, neighbor or that aunt starts up with, oh, están locos, están destrampados. Something's wrong with their head. And having been born and lived here in the U.S. all my life, but having spent time in Mexico, you see that there's a considerable suicide rate in Mexico, which really goes unreported. It's just something that stays within the family.
Obviously, I was very depressed. You know, you feel like you're on your own, that nobody's there for you. And you go through all these emotions and you have nobody to tell anybody. And you feel like you're the only one in this world that's going through that. So, you know, I drank some pills. And I don't know what happened after that, but apparently they just didn't even take me to hospital. They just gave me milk and, you know, kept me at home for, I don't know, a week or two. So when I had to go back to school, I had to lie about that I was sick. So it was never addressed. You know, they put it under the rug and they just let it go. Like if somebody was, like a husband was left by their wife or whatever, then instead of saying like, oh yeah, you know, he never remarried, he never really picked up his life again normally, his, you know, because he was depressed, they'll be like, oh yeah, because they did brujeria on him. And that was how it was viewed, like witchcraft. You only go to the doctor if you're sick, like if your body's sick, but not if your mental state is bad. And if you say you're going to a therapist, everybody can think you're crazy. So if something bad happening to you, it has to be because it's evil. Because it's brujeria. Something did something bad to you. Because whatever your parents told you, that's what it was. You never questioned it. So it's a culture thing that's been passed on by family, and by family like that.
So either you're sad because of the devil or you're happy because of God.
Exactly. Because somebody did something bad to you. Like somebody actually like did brujeria. They'll say like, yeah, they did this to you. That's why you're like this.